Hello everyone, this is David, and welcome to week 6 of Writing 394. And this video that is an overview of your assignments and deliverables for week 6. So let's take a look. As usual, you want to make sure that you have clicked on Content, and the week that we are now in, beginning on Monday, is week 6. One of the first things I want to show you about this week is that it not only has this main module, but this week also contains a sub-module on your writing process. So let's go through all of these assignments. The first one is to read about the role of primary research. Basically, this thread explains the difference between primary and secondary research, which is very simple. Secondary research is something that has already been published. Primary research is new information that has been gathered by you, and only you, and has not, of course, been published. Your final research project must contain both primary and secondary research. This thread also covers 3 reasons why you will probably be using primary research in the workplace reports that you write in your professional career. And then come a series of examples of primary research for some of the actual topics that have been suggested for your project number 4, the final research-based persuasive essay. Alternatives to email, some examples of primary research, paperless office, which I believe someone is doing, a community playground, I think someone's doing a community rugby league, office recycling, which I think someone is doing, and there are just some examples of primary research. Keep in mind that these are just examples, and that you can come up with any kind or type of primary research that you want. The only thing, the only rule, the only requirement for primary research is that it is information, data, observations that have been gathered by you. Okay, let's take our threads back. The second thread contains the actual assignment directions for the project number 3 that is due at the end of this week. This project 3 is a short memo. I want you to try to keep this memo to around 2 pages, which is about, in that single space by the way, 2 pages, which is around 1,000 to 1,400 words. Keep in mind, this is single space. A 2-page memo is a good size memo. Rarely go over 2 pages. This thread talks about the times in your workplace in which you're probably going to have to write proposal memos. They're really pretty common in the workplace. It has a video that gives you the exact format that I want you to use for your memo. You know, in the workplace, you probably have seen memos written by other people. What you want to do is, in your workplace, whenever you're doing this for real, is to find the memos written by the leaders in your workplace and parrot, copy that format exactly. What is the correct format for a memo in your workplace? Depends upon your workplace. Whatever the leaders do in your workplace, that's what you want to mirror as well. However, since this is a school assignment and I have to grade all students the same, I do need, just as you would find in the workplace, a set of standards by which everyone is measured. And so that's what you will find in this video here. Then this section outlines the 6 sections or 6 chunks that should be in your memo. Most memos begin with a summary of statement, a statement of the purpose of that memo, so that anyone reading it knows exactly what to expect. It's kind of an executive summary of the entire memo. Then you're going to describe what the problem is. Remember, this is a problem solution-based paper that you're writing. You're going to describe why the problem needs to be investigated, In other words, the kinds of issues that it's causing in your workplace, the kind of issues it's causing in your community. In other words, this is where you would describe the negative effects as well as the benefits. Then here are your suggestions, your solutions, your recommendations, what research you've done so far. You don't want to show your hand as being a cold, empty hand whenever you make this proposal to your bosses. And then you want to do your conclusion. Back on this research, you definitely want to make sure that you are suggesting both the primary and the secondary research that's going to be done in the report that you're going to be doing in stage 4. And in the conclusion of proposal memo has a pretty specific purpose, and that is to ask permission and outline any resources that you need in order to complete this task. A reminder that in this memo, you are to practice, you are to demonstrate the techniques of reader-based prose. Indeed, one of the primary grading criteria for this memo will be how successfully you have implemented the techniques of reader-based prose. And don't forget that you will be submitting the final copy, and in the assignment folder, Project 3, Proposal Memo for the final report. There is a discussion board associated with this memo, and we're going to be having somebody from the Effective Writing Center help us out. And in this discussion board, I want you to be sure to post the first page of your memo, but not the entire first page. I want to be looking primarily at the header to make sure that you get that header correct, and that header should contain the date, and the header means the to, from, subject, or re, and then the first paragraph, that summary paragraph, to make sure that you know what that summary paragraph is supposed to accomplish in your memo. So there's your discussion board, and it's a way of kind of getting started on your memo, and the Effective Writing Center advisor and I will be checking to make sure you're off to a good start. There's also this thread on the grammar, spelling, and style checkers. I feel like that a lot of you could benefit from the proper use of a spelling and style checker. If you want to subscribe to Grammarly, that's just fine. You've got a pretty good grammar, spelling, and style checker on your computer if you have any version of Microsoft Word. I don't know what the Mac machines offer with their Pages word processing program. But I do want you to watch this video on grammar, spelling, and style checkers, and be sure to take advantage of that tool. Finally, I want you to think a little bit about your writing, or your overall writing process. You know, every writer has a writing process, whether they're conscious of it or not. One of the differences between a trained and untrained writer is that a trained writer is very conscious of his or her writing process, knows the steps, knows what works well and what doesn't work well, and more importantly, exerts control over that writing process. So I want you to begin in this thread to become more conscious of your writing process and to exert more control over it. There's a thread here for you to read, Get It Done Fast, an introduction to block writing. But this thread also contains a section on mistakes writers make, as well as a section on how to block write. I want to introduce you to that technique. This section also has a video on the big 3 mistakes that writers make. Maybe you make one of those. I know that I do on a regular basis. They're the kinds of things that come up in your writing process that you constantly have to be aware of and have a strategy in place to deal with. Your discussion board is to choose 1 or 2 of those mistakes that are discussed in those resources and go ahead and fess up. Which ones bedevil your writing the most, and how are you going to deal with it? And I think it'd also be good in this thread if you also responded to at least one other classmate to see what else is going on with your classmates in terms of the kinds of mistakes and strategies that they've got going for their writing process. So there you go. There's your overview of week 6. As usual, I'm just a phone call, text message, or email away. Please don't hesitate to contact me at any time if I can answer any questions on the work that is due this week. Good luck on it. I know that, as always, you'll be doing your excellent, excellent work.